My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning and welcome to the challenge. As always, first and foremost, we'd like to thank God for the opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. The challenge this week is about issues, as we always talk about, that we face in our community. Issues that I think, unfortunately, sometimes that go unattended, overlooked, and for whatever reason, ignored. That issue this morning is the issue of sickle cell anemia. We want to talk about sickle cell anemia this morning because, for all intents and purposes, sickle cell is a disease that impacts and that affects African Americans, blacks, people of color, much more so than any other group or race of people. Yet, there is so little attention given to the disease and to those who are stricken with it, to the point where I think that we've almost become numb and actually decided to kind of dismiss it. Well, I don't intend to do so. I think that it is something that we ought to be paying particular attention to. I personally have a member of my own family who has the disease and faced crisis and has been through crisis after crisis in his life, but yet has excelled. But nonetheless, we've asked a young lady to stop by this morning who is intimately familiar with sickle cell. She personally has also members in her family, but she also volunteers to be a part of that sickle cell community, to work with those who are facing those kinds of issues on a day-to-day basis. This morning's guest is Lakia Siobhan Leitner.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this morning.
Lakia, I'm so happy that there are people like yourself in the world who give of themselves and who really are really sort of putting themselves in the place of those people who are struggling with sickle cell anemia. Why have you decided to volunteer for sickle cell anemia work, and why are you so interested in doing what you can to help those with sickle cell anemia?
Well, my mother and brother suffer from the disease, so that's why it's important for me to stay active with the sickle cell organizations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how long have you known that they have struggled with it? Have you always been aware of that? Have you watched them face crisis yourself?
Yes, always, taking them to the hospital when they need to go, and, doctor's appointments and so forth, and pick up their meds for them.
And you've been doing this since you were how old?
I want to say from my mom, I want to say for my mom, maybe like 12. I started going to the store to get her medicine and got my brother medicine as well. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And how many other brothers and sisters do you have?
Well, our mother had 8 of us, and I'm the eldest.
Oh, you're the oldest,
yeah.
Okay.
So she had 5 boys and 3 girls.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. So, I mean, I'm just guessing, but did everybody pitch in, or did you feel like it was mostly your responsibility to take care of her as well as your younger brother?
I would say for a while it was on me, but my other siblings, once they got older, they started trying to, pitch in as well, which is a good help for me because they'll wear you out.
Yeah.
And I struggle with asthma and allergies, so,
Yeah.
So helping them was something, but I didn't mind. It's out of love.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I know they would do the same for me.
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. Now, having family members who have those kinds of problems or those kinds of issues, I won't call them problems, but having those kinds of issues, how has it affected you? I mean, as a person, are you more sensitive now to people who have those kinds of problems? Can you, because most people you can't look at the person and tell that they have sickle cell and that they struggle with it, with it in their lives. So how does it make you feel when you know that, you have, your mother and your sibling who have it, but the fact that other people aren't aware of it, I guess, is how does that make you feel?
I've always been sensitive with people with sickle cell because I watch my mother and brother suffer.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the Black community that have sickle cell anemia.
Yes.
And I noticed that just one statistic that says like 1 in like 500 or something like that within the Black community have sickle cell anemia. Well, where does your volunteer work take place? Is it in Hartford alone, or are you in other cities? Where do you volunteer?
Well, for the sickle cell organization, we always have events in Hartford, so I will volunteer in that area.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you've been doing so for how many years now?
I'm a new volunteer.
Okay.
But when I was younger, I was active with the sickle cell. My brother and mother used to come more to the meetings. Now it's just me more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my brother and mother, their health has failed.
Oh.
Like my mother has diabetes now.
Oh.
And my brother has a pacemaker, and he just had his second heart surgery. So they can't make the meetings like I can.
Right. If it's not, too invasive, how old is your brother now?
He's 30.
He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
And he's had 2
heart surgeries. He has a pacemaker,
and
he has a trach in his neck.
Oh.
Because, once you're a sickle cell patient, once they use all your veins from a baby, the veins, you can't hook it with IVs anymore. So they put a trach in his neck. So every time he comes to the hospital, they're connected, and, the medicine will go through the body. Like you would do a regular, IV in a vein.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your mom, what's her condition like now?
It's terrible, especially with diabetes. Diabetes is serious. And then the sickle cell.
Right.
Like she takes insulin, of course, for her diabetes, and then she has a sickle cell. She suffers a lot.
Oh.
She's always at the doctor as well, like my brother.
Oh.
I mean, they got to see the doctor every week. Sometimes they don't come home. They have to be admitted right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every week they have to.
Every week they have to go to the doctor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about health care now around the country, and, paying for that. That's why, I know how important it is for there to be some kind of health care to alleviate some of the stress and the pain of being stricken with that, with that disease, because I can imagine the cost of that has got to be
it's sky high,
be enormous. Yeah. That is really something. I just feel like we ought to be as a community more involved.
Yes.
And we ought to be more aware. I met a young man yesterday, Sean White, I think is his name. And Sean's about 35 years old. But if you looked at him, you would never know that he has
the disease.
The disease. Yeah. He looks perfectly healthy. He's kind of shy, it seems. But he's, obviously very active too in the community. But he struggles every single day. I'm just wondering what we're missing. I mean, can you think of what the ordinary person might be missing when it comes to dealing with people who have that? What are we not paying attention to?
I think maybe we need to see, maybe, I don't know, sickle cell, they're so quiet about it. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
You would have to talk with the person to find out. Because sometimes people hide it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the best thing for us to do is to do kind of like you do, is to find out, where people are hosting events and where people are having events, to find out who's in the sickle cell anemia community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we won't leave it on such a somber note, but we're talking with this morning Lakia Siobhan Leitner about sickle cell because she's a volunteer, and this is one of those diseases that impacts our community far more than any other community, and we are trying to create awareness. So not a somber note, but something that's far more exciting. Lakia is actually an entrepreneur too, and we want to talk to her a little bit about her entrepreneurship and what she's trying to do, aside from committing and volunteering her time to help with the disease of sickle cell anemia. We'll be right back.
Nice ballpark here.
Real nice.
What do you think? They'll let us play a couple games here?
Who we gonna play?
What's up? You guys lost? Just wondering, Hartford Bravest braving us to play HPD in here for a couple games?
You know that's not the world's biggest Dunkin' Donut.
You know there's no lost kittens in there either, right? We don't want to be here all day. You guys are short staffed. You got to fill shifts.
Ain't no rules.
Calm down, guys. Calm down. Despacito. Let's play for Julito and let the best team win September 23rd.
Get your popcorn.
Good morning and welcome again to the challenge. We are talking with Lakia Siobhan Leitner about sickle cell anemia this morning, and she was just about to say to me why she thinks that working with those people who have sickle cell anemia is actually an inspiration, and should be an inspiration to others because why? Do you feel that way?
Well, I feel like we don't suffer like they do.
Okay.
Yes. And you shouldn't be depressed because you're not in their condition.
You know, that is amen. Mm-hmm. I mean, all I can say is amen to that because you're so right. I mean, we take so much for granted. Mm-hmm. You know, I think most of us who have no idea of what it's like to live with that kind of pain, and to live with it on a daily basis, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, you know, people complain when they have, you know, ankle sprains and toothaches and, you know, headaches, where, you know, the pain that those people have with sickle cell, you know, is a pain that, as I understand it, can be excruciating and actually last for long periods of time. So rather than trying to get into, you know, technically what the sickle cell is, I hope that others will come to some of the events that are taking place in our community that have to do with raising money to help those who are struggling with the cost of living with sickle cell. One of those events is on the 19th of August at the Yard Goats baseball game. The Sickle Cell Anemia Citizens for Quality Sickle Cell Life are having an event, a fundraiser. Tickets are available. You'll have to see those in the community at high noon, the first and the third Wednesdays of every month at the American Legion to find your tickets, or contact Sickle Cell Anemia and see what it takes to get involved and to contribute to helping those who are having the financial problems and the financial issues that are associated with having sickle cell. Another event is on the 16th of September at the Yukon Health Center at 263 Farmington Avenue. There is a number, but it's just being sponsored by those who are working with those who have sickle cell in our community, and look for it in our community. I'm sure there will be more outreach being done. I'm being told by the executive director that there's at least 3 or 4 other events coming up, a walkathon, a bikeathon, those kinds of events that'll be taking place also. Well, let's talk about your entrepreneurship. Let's talk a little bit about, what it is that you want to do besides volunteer. Now, I understand that you have an interest in owning your own TV network.
Yes, that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
I already selected a name and I registered the FCC.
Okay.
And all I need to do is find out what equipment I need and get a station and get going.
All right. All right. That must be exciting.
Yes.
Wow. So who's your inspiration for doing that?
Oprah.
Oprah.
Yeah. Yes.
That is very ambitious, Lakia. I think you're going to do it.
Yes.
I believe in you.
I have the drive.
I believe in you.
Once I have my mind set on something, I just do it.
Wow.
Because I only live once.
That's right.
You know?
Well, that's very, very true. And now you also told me, too, that you're a vendor now.
Yes.
For Walmart, I'm told.
Yes.
You have mugs and pens and those kinds of things that you're actually producing through your own means, and you're selling to Walmart.
Yes. I'm starting off small with like the pens and the note cards, the hats, the shirts, and then I'll get some more merchandise.
So are they, what's your product called? Is it called?
It's the same name as my nonprofit.
Which is?
Mixed Chicks Sorority Incorporated.
Mixed Chicks?
Sorority Incorporated.
Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
Mixed Chicks Sorority Incorporated. Well, we got to look for that. Lakia, I tell you, you're quite the, personality. I think that you're going to do well. I'm so glad that you were able to come by this morning and talk to us. It warms my heart to know that you're not just somebody who's volunteering to help those who are less fortunate, but that you're also an entrepreneur also.
Yes, and also have a magazine that's published.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just $2 I'm charging, and if you want me to mail it, it's additional $1.50.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hurt people's pockets, and the magazine will be available in all stores. I had to finish off the vendor trade forms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's in the magazine?
Everything. Different stuff.
Are there articles that you've written that have been written by people in?
Well, for whoever wants to contribute to me, they can contact me. But I write the articles.
Okay.
And they're about different stuff.
Give us an example.
I talk about let's see. I talk about like, do all lives matter? Like the difference between the poor and the rich.
Okay.
That's something that I was, it comes from a writing assignment I had in college.
Okay.
So I thought I might write an article about that.
Oh, okay.
I do a couple reviews. I do a couple of beauty and health.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I want to be different from other magazines.
And what's the name of your magazine?
Mixed Race Love.
Mixed Race Love. Okay.
That's the name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we got to look for this mixed race thing. That's going to be all over the place.
Yes.
Mixed race. Now, what's the name of your network?
Mixed Television Network. Yeah.
Mixed Television. Now, you got me giving me all 3 of those again.
And then I'm working on a museum. I want to have it in Washington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a grant so I can open up my museum. I want it in Washington because that's where all the other museums are, and I want people to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know people
Quite
will
the
come
ambition.
to Washington.
Yeah, mixed race. Now, why? Why mixed race? Is that?
Well, I just wanted something different.
Oh.
Yeah, and
okay.
it's also a topic that people talk about now. They used to hide it, but now people are coming out more.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of that.
That is wonderful.
Yeah,
that
something
is,
different and that's current in the 20th century.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
Yes.
Well, you can see for yourself, Lakia Siobhan Leitner, she is a ray of sunshine for our community. She is somebody who I think we ought to be looking to and supporting and doing all we can to help sure that she's successful. And I hope, today's show has been just a little contribution to that. Yes. We want you to be all that you have a desire to be.
Thank you.
We pray that God gives you, frankly, the desires of your heart.
Thank you so much.
Lakia Siobhan Leitner this morning with us on the challenge, talking about sickle cell anemia, but also quite the entrepreneur. Look for her on the shelves in Walmart, and look for her magazine. Come out to help to support those who are doing what they can to fight sickle cell anemia and to help those who are living with sickle cell anemia. We thank you for tuning in to the challenge this morning. We want you all to remember, be blessed.
My name is Jay Stan McCauley, and I do business as Lightsource Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be, but let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.